Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday live stream. So, good amount of information to go over. So, which would you like first? Would you like the bad news or the worst news? Or maybe some good news? Bad news it is. So, first up, it looks like the government's going to shut down. And not that this is a big thing. Actually, it was pretty positive at one point as things are moving along. But this is what's happening currently. Democrats will not provide votes to advance the Department of Homeland Security funding bill in wake of Minneapolis shooting. This is from Chuck Schumer, saying him directly. Chuck Schumer is the Senate minority leader, said on Saturday that Democrats will not put up the necessary votes to advance a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security in the wake of an immigration agent shooting and killing a man in Minneapolis on Saturday. The House on Thursday passed a funding package. Let me back up. The House on Thursday, the House of Representatives, not the Senate. Senate, House of Representatives, that is Congress. The House on Thursday passed a funding package, along with a separate measure to fund the Department of Homeland Security, sending the bill to the Senate for approval. So it goes in the House, they fight it all out, and it goes to the Senate, and it gets rubber stamped, and off they go. And inside that is also two other funding measures that passed the House last week. The Senate passes the measure. If the Senate passes the measure together before the January 30 deadline to fund the government, then everything will stay open. If the funding package does not pass the Senate, there will be another partial government shutdown. And like we said in the beginning, Chuck Schumer said, I'm going to vote no. And that's pretty much it. So if the Republicans can pull that off and see if they can pass it, great. If not, that means there's another government shutdown in the United States. What does that mean for you and your Bitcoin? That's a better question, I think. And actually, it's not that good. It's not that good, but we have to put this in context. And the context is, look at the dates when we talk about this. This will be the fourth time in roughly, 8 years or so? Fourth time in eight years, we just can't seem to keep the government open. Not that the government is fantastic or anything, just it'd be great if they could just show up and do their job. So as far as like timeline goes, as far as duration, the last three have been as followed. The great 2025 shutdown. Remember that time? It was a good time. It was October 1st, 2025, all the way to November 12th. And we shut down for 43 days, the longest in US history. What happened during that time? Well, we hit a Bitcoin all-time high 5 days later on October 6th, 2025. And everybody was jubilant, and it was a great market. And then on October 10th, the Binance nonsense happened, and everything collapsed, and we've had a big problem with speculation and momentum. And we've lost a massive amount of momentum, and that has gone all the way over to gold and silver. Congratulations to those guys. And during that time, October 1st, November 12th, the great shutdown, that is what was going on. So that was the longest day. And the time before that was December 22nd, 2018 to January 25, 2019. A long time, 35 days. But remember, in the context, what was happening on December 22nd, 2018? Oh, that's right. It was the throngs of the bear market as we had gone 1 year past the all-time high in 2017. Somewhere around December 6th, 7th, I forget, correct me in the comments section. But in a year's time, we were in a very bad bear market already. And of course, this threw it on, and this occurred in the 2018 crypto winter. Bitcoin's already battered, sitting at approximately 3,800, whereas like a year before, it was almost at 20,000. And then the last one, or the third in duration, January 2018. Again, another hard time for Bitcoin. And this hit right as the 2017 bull market bubble was bursting. Bitcoin fell from 12,800 to 10,500 during that week. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't expect it to be super positive for Bitcoin, but I'll be honest with you, I have no trust in the government anyhow. So let's see what happens. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. So here's some, maybe this is good news. I don't know. We'll see. This is a great account, Bull Theory. I linked him or hers, link in the description. You can check them out over on X. Good stuff, good stuff. And you're going to hear a lot about this. The yen carry trade, or the carry trade in Japan, is blowing up, and there's nothing but a whole slew of different of videos on that. But as a breakdown, this is pretty good. And I like the very last part when it's actually could be positive. So the Fed is preparing to sell US dollars and buy Japanese yen for the first time this century. Japan's under heavy pressure. The yen has been weak for years. And when they talk about the Japanese yen has been weak, it's not so much about the yen, which we can see here, the Japanese yen currency index, kind of like what we have like for the Dixie for the dollar. When the dollar goes down as far as the strength, that's good for Bitcoin because people are like, wow, the dollar is weak. I got to kind of keep this gravy train going. What should I get into that has some upside? Bitcoin's a pretty good one. Gold and silver seems to have captured the imagination, the hearts and minds of many an investor. So it kind of goes in that direction. Now with the Japanese yen currency index, we can see that over the last 5 years, it's gone down not like 1% or 2%, but negative 33%. And just so you know, America, as bad as it is for its debt to income ratio, debt to income is 123%. Or excuse me, debt to GDP, not debt to income. Debt to GDP, I apologize. 123% for America. Debt to GDP for Japan, does anyone want to take a guess at their debt to GDP? 238%. So if we're looking at like who's number one, right now it's Japan, and it's not looking too good for them. And if we can take a look at the 10-year treasury, which everybody's talking about, it's been pretty flat since around 2015, 2016 at like 0.23. And we had a great time. Everybody was getting free money. It would take money, Japanese yen, 10-year treasury, go over to America, get like 4 or 5, wherever it was. And now we've actually gone up. So now people are saying, maybe I should just keep everything in Japan and get them to their treasuries. And of course, there's problems going on over there as far as looks like they're going to ask for a new election. Not for the president, for the House. I think this is normal procedure. Anyhow, back to the story. Japan has already tried to defend its currency many times in its own, but it failed in 2022 and 2024. History is very clear. When Japan acts alone, it does not work. When the US and Japan act together, it does. One of the problems, though, that Japan is doing right now, which you may or may not hear about, is that they bought a boatload of our treasuries to the tune of $1.2 trillion. And if those start to unwind, it's going to not be too great for the markets. However, there's a turnaround to this, and I'll get to it, and actually it's pretty good. So 1998, during the Asian financial crisis, we saw it even more clearly in 1985 with the Plaza Accords, when coordinated action pushed the dollar down nearly 50% over 2 years. That changed everything. The dollar weakened, gold, commodities, non-US markets all pumped. Let me say that again. That changed everything. They allowed the dollar to get weak, which I believe the Trump administration is actually trying to do. Gold, commodities, non-US markets all pumped. This could be good then for Bitcoin. If the Fed intervenes, this is how it should play out. The Fed creates dollars. They're good at that. They sell them, use those dollars to buy yen. Why would they prop up another government's fiat currency? Because if they don't do it, everybody's going to sell off the treasuries of $1.2 trillion. We're going to have a very massively bad market globally. And weakens the dollar, increases global liquidity. And whenever the dollar is intentionally weakened, asset prices usually surge, which is what happened in 2020, 2021, when there's a bunch of money printing. And we saw everything go to Valhalla, to the moon. So anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. I think this is good. For maybe the short term. Long term, I think this is a disaster. But there was a chart that kind of lays this out. And like I said, there's some bad news and there's some worse news with some good news mixed in there. When this happened last time, in 2024, we saw a reduction in Bitcoin, about a negative 30% drop in roughly about 4 weeks or so. However, after that, it was a 119% rally. So you take some government shutdowns, see how that's going to work out. You see everybody complaining and crying about this Japanese yen carry and what's going on in Japan. And if you stick around, you'll be rewarded. But this is not looking too great in the short term. Long term, of course, it's good. And if we can take a look at gold, gold is doing great. It just passed over 5,000 the first time in history. So congratulations, gold holders. Silver doing even better. If we take a look at the risk level, which Ben has on his website, it's at the peakity top, one at $105 per ounce. That's a lot of money. So congratulations. But as a reminder, you know, Bitcoin compared to gold and silver, silver did roughly a 3.2, 3.5x in the last year or so. Gold done like 2.5x. And Bitcoin has been a laggard. But if we've taken a look over time, things aren't too bad as far as the appreciation, just that now we're in this pullback. And if we can see here, as far as like risk levels, I think gold and silver will continue to go up. So even though it's at the tippity top one, it'll probably keep going. Bitcoin might even go down further, but there's more tremendous upside to Bitcoin, I think. And people who say precious metals, which I own gold, I don't have any silver, which I would have. But if I owned all this stuff, how long can gold and silver outpace Bitcoin? Can they continue to outpace it for a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years? Can precious metals continue to do that, or do you think Bitcoin's a good play? I have to tell you, me personally, I mean, I get gold and I get silver, I understand it. I'm not going to buy anymore. I have it in my retirement account. That's good, just gold. And if we take a look at Bitcoin, right now, there was a nice little level of security, the 100-week moving average. And we're kind of bouncing around on that, a level of support, as the TA folks say. But as you can see here, it dropped below that. And the next level down is 150-week, that's 70,000. And then if we get to this 200-week moving average, which is where everybody wants it to go, because that pretty much would indicate the bottom. It did that in 2018, did it in 2022. So I don't see why it doesn't do this again. If that's at 58,000. Ouchie. So we'll see. Anyhow, that's it for today. Like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. When we talk about is time sensitive. I know it wasn't a very positive video, but it is the reality. So let me know what you think about that, and let's go do a little Q&A. Oh, this is perfect. Michael says we're effed. Perhaps. I think it all comes down to, you know, where do we want to be here? Where do we look at this? And I know it's cliche. I don't even like going like, oh, I can't wait to accumulate more. It gets tiring. I get tired. I got tired in the last bear market. I got tired in my first bear market in 2018. It gets tiring to talk about the same things over and over again and not see any fruits of your labor. But this is my third session. It never changes. It feels like I am in the Matrix. And like every single time I go through this cycle, it's the same thing. It's going to keep going up. It's going to go up forever. I'm disbelief. It shouldn't go down. This is the best thing of all time. There's going to be a super cycle. 4-year cycles are dead. And then it just repeats again. And it like just keeps happening. And then everybody's got a theory about where it's going to go. And I'm like, I don't know. And like I said today in my X post, I said, you know, everybody's the smart individuals out there. I'm not one of them. They're just telling you, they're just telling me like, hey, or they're telling us, like, look, there's the super banana massive cycle zone coming up. And you just got to, you know, just believe that 2026 is going to be a great year. Maybe it is. And if it is, I'm glad that I'm dollar cost averaging, which I'm doing now every week instead of buying every day. Like if I bought, let's say $10 a day, I would just go, okay, instead of 10, 10, 10, 10, I just buy $70 on Monday. That's it, I'm done. And if that happens, we do have a super cycle, which this will be the first time. That'd be great because we've been buying. But if it keeps going down, like some people believe it will, and I don't know what it's going to do, it's a good thing that there's things in the reservoir that I can dip into and buy at that point. But it's always the same thing. It always bounces back. I don't see why this is different. I just think that Bitcoin has more upside. Anyhow, that's a long answer. Yeah, Bitcoin going up. And let's see. Please smash the likes. I bet in Chicago it's freezing. Especially, I bet it's really cold. It's nice here in Puerto Rico, though. Let me tell you, best thing I ever did was move here. Yeah, Exactly. 50,000 for a bottom, I'll take it. It would suck though, because like all the dollar cost averaging I've been doing, it just kind of like goes out the window. But at least it lowers my cost basis. Sure. Low Lone Wolf, me was here. Let's go for a swim. And this beautiful green screen. Hold on. That's too much. That's good enough. Let's see. It does a good job, Fiverr does. Oh, yeah. Soto Plato. Free Iran. Shavi Shah. The reports coming out of the country are terrible, and the IRGC have just printed an insane amount of money. Well, is it the Real, the Riyadh? I always forget their currency. That's collapsing too, just like the Bolivar in Venezuela. And, you know, all fiat currency eventually goes to zero. So the dollar will go to zero at some point. The euro will go to zero at some point. That's why I still think that's more upside. Yeah. It's time to repair, make a plan, and get ready for the bottom. The big thing, though, was we follow the rules, right? And the rules are take those profits. And people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you talking about? There's no one's got profits. I'm telling you now, because at some point you will have them. And it's important that you have a plan of action at that point. Got to take some profits. What are you going to put it into? What are you going to do with it? These are the big questions that I can't ask for you. I can't answer them. Dow's getting there pretty quickly. Yeah, it's doing okay. And we'll see. That debt to GDP, though, is pretty scary. For Japan, 238%, 232%, whatever it was. And America, 123%. Is the US dollar a Ponzi scheme? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Or is it just backed up with the US military? I know it's supposed to be the GDP, but come on. I've never seen Rob in a black shirt. Usually this is my emergency shirt that I use if I'm going to do like videos impromptu. I think that's it. Guys, that's it. I think everybody's good. So that was the story today. Get ready for whatever the heck happens. I still I'm thinking that gold and silver, because there's so much uncertainty in the world right now, they'll probably do pretty good. Probably do pretty well for a while. And I thought that after silver hit 100, I think, okay, there's going to be a massive profit taking, but no. And I've heard rumors of silver being talked to go to $200, but that's just rumors. And just like every sector and every market, there's rumors going around. Maybe there's a Tom Lee over in Silvertown that is more bullish than anybody else. Anyhow, that's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody, stopping by. I appreciate you. See you guys in the next one.